So Boston Dynamics just retired their old hydraulic Atlas and introduced a whole new electric version designed to tackle real-world problems. I'll be covering details from an interview done between IEEE Spectrum and Boston Dynamics CEO Robert Plater. But first, let's take a look at their intro video for the new Atlas. Okay, I'll admit, this new Atlas video is a little weird. It's super cool yet terrifying. Plater even admits it. They wanted to show off the robot's crazy range of motion with their new actuators. These movements will ultimately lead to better efficiency, but man, they do look a little unsettling at first. Imagine being able to turn around without having to take a bunch of steps to turn your whole body instead. This means the new Atlas robot can be much more agile because its joints move in a wider range. Imagine you're at a party and you want to talk to someone behind you. Normally, you'd have to shuffle your feet around to turn your whole body. But the new Atlas can just twist its hips to face the other person, which is insane. Instead of being stuck with human-like movements, Boston Dynamics decided to go a step further and built their new Atlas with super flexible joints. This lets it stay bipedal while also being much better at handling tough jobs. As Dr. Jim Fan puts it, we are so obsessed with human-level robotics that we forget it is just an artificial ceiling. Why don't we make a new species superhuman from day one? I do think that people are going to have to become familiar with our robot. I don't think that means limiting yourself to human motions. This is a good point because Plater argues that robots don't need to move exactly like humans for us to work with them. Even if their movements look weird at first, that's okay. Instead, we should be prioritizing the robot's efficiency, even if their movements are strange. For example, the first version of their previous robot, Stretch, was slow because it couldn't turn all the way around easily. By adding a joint that lets it swivel 180 degrees, Stretch became much faster and more useful. So even if a robot's movements are strange at first, people will get used to it, as long as the robot gets the job done well. Another thing that's interesting about the new Atlas is its head. It doesn't look anything like a human head. Instead, it has this cool circular light. It's designed to be a friendly face, a way for us to understand what the robot's up to. Plater even mentioned they purposefully avoided a human-like head because, let's be honest, nobody wants a creepy robot uprising. The old Atlas did not have an articulated head, but having an articulated head gives you a tool that you can use to indicate intent. Some of our original concepts had more of a human head shape, but for us, they always looked a little bit threatening or dystopian somehow. The designers of the new Atlas wanted to use the head movement and built-in lights to show users what the robot is thinking or what it wants to do. Also, Boston Dynamics wanted Atlas to be friendly and helpful, not scary from a sci-fi movie. And so they got inspiration from a non-threatening source, the cute Pixar lamp. So instead of a Terminator head, they went with something more like a friendly desk lamp. We've also compared the strength of our new electric Atlas to our hydraulic Atlas, and the electric Atlas is stronger. For a long time, Atlas used hydraulics because they were thought to be the best way to create strong movements. Hydraulics are good at providing power, but they can be bulky and leak. But their new Atlas robot uses electric motors instead. These electric motors are surprisingly strong, even compared to the old hydraulic system. This is a big deal because electric motors are lighter and simpler than hydraulics. This lets them make a stronger, more agile robot. Everybody will buy one robot. We learned that with Spot. But they won't start by buying fleets, and you don't have a business until you can sell multiple robots to the same customer. So just making a cool robot isn't enough. People might buy one out of curiosity, but Boston Dynamics will need to find real problems that companies have and solve them in a way that makes those companies want to buy lots of robots. We're targeting proof of technology testing in factories at Hyundai Motor Group as early as next year. They're planning to send their new Atlas robots to Hyundai car factories for a trial run to see if these robots can actually be useful in a real factory setting. Boston Dynamics isn't the only one in the game when it comes to partnering with car manufacturers. Other humanoid robotics companies are also teaming up with car makers. Figure is working with BMW to see if their general-purpose robots can handle tough tasks in factories. Apptronic is getting Mercedes-Benz involved in testing their humanoids. Tesla, of course, has its own robot, Optimus, that they plan to use in their own factories. Even Sanctuary AI is getting in on the action. They recently partnered with Magna, a major supplier that builds parts for many European car companies. It looks like there's a gold rush for car manufacturers to get their hands on these new humanoid robots. They all seem to be hoping these robots can improve efficiency and safety on the assembly line. So, the previous Atlas robots were impressive, but they weren't quite ready for practical use. It seems like Boston Dynamics learned a lot from their experience with building their previous robots Spot and Stretch. They realized that a cool robot isn't enough. It needs a real purpose and the ability to actually get stuff done to be valuable. Forget parkour and dance routines. What truly matters is industrial applicability. If you'd like to learn more about the new Atlas, I'll link the interview in the description below. So what do you think? Are we on the verge of a robot revolution? Will Atlas become a common sight in factories around the world?